Hi there, thanks for joining us. Immigration between India and Canada has been booming, and in this video we're going to be talking to you about how to go about immigrating from India to Canada. As always, remember to hit the subscribe button and to check us out on our website at go.gooselaw.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back. My name is Donovan Francis and I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer, and I help skilled workers who are inside Canada and those who are outside Canada. I help them to become Canadian permanent residents without having to deal with all of the complicated legal forms that are part of that process. Now, immigration between India and Canada is booming. In 2019, for instance, India was the #1 source country for persons who became Canadian permanent residents. And so in this video, we're going to be explaining what are some of the immigration options available to persons in India who are wanting to immigrate to Canada. Now, first of all, your options in terms of coming to Canada may be to come to Canada as a permanent resident or to come to Canada as a temporary resident. Ideally, you would want to arrive in Canada as a permanent resident, because doing so would allow you to enjoy almost all of the rights enjoyed by a citizen. Now, the way in which you are able to arrive in Canada and become a permanent resident when upon arrival is if you apply under one of the federally managed immigration programs. The federal government has a program called the Federal Skilled Worker Program, and it also has a program called the Federal Skilled Trades Program. And these are managed by a system that the government has that's called the Express Entry System. And so at the core of these programs is a requirement that you must meet certain basic meet certain basic requirements. One of them is that your age is going to be a factor. You will be accumulating points based on your age. So if you're somebody who is between the ages of 22 and say 34, you're going to be at an advantage as far as your age is concerned. It also takes into consideration your work experience within certain type of job, certain job types. So if you are from a professional type of job, or if you're from a high trades job, then that too is going to be taken into consideration, provided you have worked in that role for more than a year. There's also going to be consideration about your language ability, whether it be in English or French. And so your performance in a language test is also going to be factored into the equation. And equally important is also going to be your education level. Usually persons who have at least a tertiary level education are going to be at an advantage. All right, so those are some of the factors that will be taken into consideration to determine whether or not you meet the eligibility requirements for one of the federally managed programs under Express Entry. And ultimately, the persons with the highest number of points are going to be the ones who get selected and who will get invited to become Canadian permanent residents. Alternatively, if either of those programs isn't working for you, you have the option of applying under one of the provincially managed programs. So Canada has provinces and territories, and each province and territory has its own immigration program designed to satisfy their own local needs. And so you may want to apply through one of the provincial programs to become a Canadian permanent resident. So that's another option. Alternatively, if you have a spouse in Canada who is wanting to sponsor you to become a Canadian permanent resident, that too is going to be an option. Outside of those, you may want to look at other options of coming to Canada, albeit as a temporary resident. You have the option of identifying an employer in Canada who's willing to hire you, and then coming on a work permit based on the job offer that you will be getting from that employer. So coming on a work permit as a worker is a good option, and then after working for a year, you can apply for your permanent residency. You may also come as a student, and this has been a viable option for a lot of people coming to Canada from India. They've come and they've studied for a couple of years, and then after studying, they get a work permit called a postgraduate work permit, which allows them to work for up to 3 years in Canada. And during that time, in fact, oftentimes after just 1 year of working, they are then able to apply for their Canadian permanent residency. All right, so this is a viable option, and the beautiful thing about this option is that it allows you to take your family with you. So you may take your spouse, and your spouse will be eligible for what's called an open spousal work permit. And you may also take your children who are under the age of 22 with you, and they may be eligible for a study permit. And if they are going to high school or elementary school, then you would not have to worry about paying for their tuition. So that's a very viable option, and it's one that's a lot of people coming from India, especially people who are above the age of 35. It's an option that has been attractive to many Indian nationals wanting to come to Canada. So in a nutshell, those are some of the options. Of course, there are also options for investors, people who have high net worth, meaning after you take away all of your liabilities from your asset, you have a high net worth. Maybe you're a business person, or you have a lot of resources. You also have the option of investing in Canada and using that investment as a vehicle to get your Canadian permanent residency. So those are just some of the options that are going to be available to an Indian national who is wanting to come to Canada, either as a permanent resident right off the bat, or come initially as a temporary resident and then transition into becoming a permanent resident. So I trust you found value from this video, and as always, remember to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and don't forget to check us out on our website at go.gooselaw.com.